All right, we are now in a HRV. Wanted to do a back-to-back comparison of the two. Again, we're starting off in econ mode. I adore the size of this car. I really think you could take this car and you could pattern. Boy, they should do a lot more with this car, is my immediate impression. Initial impression, jumping in, having stepped out of the CRV, it is a step down. And by that, I mean, it definitely feels like a lower car, and it feels like a less isolated and insulated car. You hear more of the tires, you hear more of the suspension noise, and you feel more jiggling, I think, not just through the wheel from the lane departure, but also just a little more jostling in the ride quality, I'd say. But I think this is a car, in terms of its sizing, it's very compelling. Like the size is just right. It is just enough car. If the cargo demands that you have do not include having 4 passengers and luggage, this might be the right size of car for you. I'm gonna throw it in this corner. It actually feels less balanced than the CRV did. Oh, there's a naturally aspirated motor for you. A little Honda fizziness. I'm gonna go into S and you can hear more of the motor. Also going to toss this seat up if I can. This is the Honda Civic Wagon I wanted them to build. This is also potentially a Honda Civic that doesn't get burdened by low-profile 18-inch wheels, which is a big blessing when you're actually dealing with real-world roads and you want to drive it through a section of tarmac, more like a rally car than a slot car. Yeah, it seems to me the HRV is interesting because on the one hand, it feels so compelling as compared to the CRV, which feels a little too large, and the Civic, which feels a little too low. But it's almost like they wanted the HRV to be their entry-level car. Just like the Civic can't be too good, because if it is, people won't buy Accords. It feels like this car is hitting more of an entry-level point in terms of its refinement. Now, is it objectionable? No. Is it better than a lot of the other entries at this price point? Yes. Is it as surprising and almost shocking as the CRV is, like punching above its weight and price category? I'm not so sure. See, in the CRV, you have the option of a hybrid that can make things even more refined and quiet. In an HRV, this is it. In an HRV, you can't get, to my knowledge at least, you can't get a power seat, memory seats, etc. You get automatic climate control as standard. Thank you, Honda. But, leather wrapped steering wheel again. Thank you, Honda. I do like what Honda is doing with their packaging. Hats off to whoever's been packaging these cars, because we see you, we notice you. I think Honda's pulling a Mazda here. Honda's realized that the key to making money in this environment isn't additional dealer markup. It's additional standard equipment. We don't sell the cloth seat, plastic steering wheel, economy grade, stripped down version of the car anymore. We only sell the Honda that we would want to touch, to drive, to own. So they're not forcing leather seats upon anyone, but it feels to me like we're seeing more alloy wheels, we're seeing more leather wrapped steering wheels. It could just be that that's what dealers are ordering. I really don't know. I'd have to dig in deeper, but there's a sensation that there's a premiumness to Honda that's arisen in the last few years that I think had to have come from them looking closely at what Mazda was doing. So speaking of Mazda, this is no CX-30. The CX-30 is a real giggle, but the CX-30 is cumbersome to get in and out of. The CX-30 is more compromised when it comes to its packaging. It's kind of like, really, it's like Civic versus Mazda 3. Mazda 3 feels a little more premium to drive. Civic feels a little more youthful. Similarly, CX-30 is the one that's set up by drivers for drivers. And HRV is, again, I'm kind of searching to find where this car fits in. I think at the price point, it's very hard to beat. But when you look at it in the context of other cars in the family, I think it's easy to get pulled away. And that's the beauty of a robust product lineup, right? I mean, people may get pulled from this into a Civic, but they may get pulled from a Civic into this. Again, product planning and packaging, I think Honda's doing a really great job, like a masterclass job of creating a lineup of vehicles. They just a couple days ago, we saw the new Pilot, which is also super compelling. This is a car company that went really far downhill 20 years ago. And I'm not going to say they're back to where they were in the 90s, but there is a sense, again, from this car and some of the other players in the industry, there is a sense that they have realized the 90s was the high water mark for car making, and they're just going to go back to what made them great in that era. Speaking of making it great, let's try, instead of Econ, I'm now to normal. So the engine's going to work a bit harder, or the throttle's going to tip in a little bit sharper for a given input. You can see I picked up speed quite quickly there. I like the way I was trying to see how the sensing system worked. Oh, that's a little too much to ask of it. Okay, I'll take over, no problem. That is a smoothie in terms of vibration when it comes to engine. The engine certainly isn't thrashy and vibratory. It's a nice hum on the overrun. It's just that when you're driving it around normally, you're gonna have to be okay with hearing it. And I have to say, I think this 2-liter naturally aspirated motor is more pleasant to listen to than the turbocharged 1.5. That's no surprise, right? Turbocharged engines typically do sound very anodyne and appliance-like. But man, tough call. I think I do wish that the HRV had the CRV's refinement level, because I think that would put it up against the CX-30 and make it a more complete car. I would like to see an HRV Touring or even Elite. I'd like to see an HRV SI. I'm not sure if it needs Type R treatment. That might go against the grain a little bit too much, but HRV SI would be nice. Something that, this is a great platform. Honda Honda got it right at its sort of genetic level. These are good bones to build off of, but I feel like they're saving some of the goodness that the HRV could have for the Civics and the CRVs of the world. And I mean, for everything from this turn signal stalks feel to the steering wheel's thickness and wrapping to, again, this beautifully intuitive interior, beautifully formed. I mean, honestly, like, again, I keep saying masterclass, but Honda is back to the level where they, there used to be a jingle, follow the leader, he's on a Honda. And I'd say Honda is once again attaining leadership status. It's not just a nice interior. It's not just, Type R Civics. It's the bread and butter everyday cars that make you feel really satisfied and recommend the car and buy another one on trade-in. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where Honda goes from here. I hope the market rewards them for their hard work. I hope that we don't see another... I think generally car companies need to just push harder and harder and not throw their hands up in the air and give up on trying to do a better job, because we need our automotive history to not be peaks and troughs. We need our automotive history to be continual improvement. And I think Honda, this is a car that you should continue to improve upon. It would be tragic for you not to. And there's really not a lot left to improve upon. Like, it just needs that same treatment that you're giving your other products. Honda HRV 2023. I didn't even mention the old one because I hate it so much. And if you in your brains are thinking HRV, oh, I've seen those, or HRV, oh, I had one of those, or my friend had one of those, discount what you think you know, because entirely new generation, entirely new car, same name. Worth a look, worth a try. You'd be kind of silly to buy a car these days without at least stopping into a Honda dealer. And that's coming from someone who has been very hard on Honda in the past 15, 20 years. Hope you find this useful. Hope you find the car for you. If you need help finding it, get in touch. I'm always happy to match you with what I think will be a better partner for your needs and wants.